Our lead story of the day is regarding the man, the myth, the legend, Peter Doocy, sparring once again with Karine Jean-Pierre. And it's really baffling on how she answers this question in terms of Joe Biden's business dealings that were found in Hunter Biden's laptop. But he also questions her on the gas station's war with Joe Biden, or vice versa. I should really rephrase that and say Joe Biden's war on the gas stations. Without further ado, let's go ahead and roll this bad boy.
Thanks, Karine. How did the president go from blaming high gas prices on Putin to big oil to small business owners now?
Great question from Peter Doocy. It's almost as if he watches the show, folks. I mean, I've been proposing the same exact question for like a couple weeks now. I was proposing it of how does he go to blame Putin and it's all Putin's fault when we saw the graph showing that prices were increasing, inflation was increasing before the war on Ukraine ever even happened. Furthermore, then he goes on Twitter and blames the oil companies for everything and blames the CEOs. And they're all going, well, what the hell are you talking about? We're pumping more oil than ever before. What more do you want from us? We can't increase things. And then he takes to Twitter and is blaming the gas stations, demanding them that they cut their prices. I mean, he's blaming everybody and anything, very similar to Hillary Clinton blaming everybody and everything other than herself for her loss against Donald Trump. Fabulous question, and only a question you're going to get from Peter Doocy and not any other reporter out there.
Well, here's the thing about that, Peter, is when you look at, as of this morning, when you look at the crude oil, and when you look at wholesale oil prices as well, they've declined about 15%. And so retail gas prices, however, have only declined just about 3% over the same time period as we have seen with the crude oil prices and the wholesale gas prices. And meanwhile, those same retailers are profiting, their profit have gone up about 40 cents, nearly 40 cents in that same period of time. So
that's a little disingenuous because she's talking in terms of proportion with wholesalers and kind of the retail price that's being pushed out there by the gas stations. But she uses proportion and percentages to talk about those things. But then with that sleight of hand, then she converts it to cents and doesn't actually make that conversion to percentages, which she should be doing if she's talking about data and making those connections, those correlations between the two or three, depending if we're talking about wholesale gas prices and then their profit margins. I think that's a little bit disingenuous of her to do and typical from Karine Jean-Pierre, and it was very typical of Jen Psaki to do the exact same thing, her predecessor. So I don't like that type of sleight of hand because people are going to utilize that. Furthermore, the wholesale price as well as the retail price that you're getting is based on different averages that are being combined based on what the market shift is. So just because you have a 15% margin on wholesale doesn't mean that's automatically going to convert to the gas station prices themselves. You have a lot of gas stations out there that differ greatly based on sector, based on counties, based on certain rates that are provided by the state in terms of taxes, certain distribution methods. So all those things are to be accounted for. They're not necessarily going to see within the wholesale either. So there is some discrepancy there, and she's definitely using misleading data to make her case and push a narrative that is false.
What the president is saying is that everyone along that chain, along that production chain line, needs to make sure that they're doing what is possible, their part in bringing down the cost for the American people. That is what we're asking. Consumers should not be the first to pay and the last to benefit.
Why not? Look, they don't have to meet any one of our demands. It's a free market out there. If the market is deciding that that's what consumers are willing to pay, then they should be able to make a price in which consumers are willing to pay. If it gets to that point where consumers are going, hey, you know what, I'm just not willing to pay that, I'll ride my freaking bike to work, or we'll utilize one car as a family, drop each other off at work, take the train, or whatever it may be, then that's one method that would drive the cost down. And we've talked about that in yesterday's episode called demand destruction is what they're calling it, where basically the prices get so high where the consumer's like, I'm not willing to pay for it anymore. But she's expecting, and so is Joe Biden, to demand these gas stations to lower their profit margins, which is only like 1.5%. We're talking a matter of pennies here, to basically take a hit for the American people. And I don't think that should be the case because the government's the one that shut everything down in the first place. They lost billions of dollars during COVID-19. They're trying to recoup those losses they had during that time. And now the government's asking more of them. I don't think so. I don't agree with that. If they want to be greedy, go right ahead. If people are willing to pay for it, such as myself, go right ahead. Because like I said, that's how the market works. And when the government intervenes and fluctuates things artificially, things never go well. And now you're seeing that happen in real time.
Jeff Bezos says the president's tweet about this is either straight ahead misdirection or a deep misunderstanding of basic market dynamics. Which is it?
As you know, we completely disagree with Jeff Bezos. Look, we will continue to call on everyone along that distribution chain, as I just mentioned, from oil companies to refineries to distributors to retailers to pass their lower cost through to consumers. That is what is important to make sure that we should not make, again, consumers pay first and get that relief last.
Okay.
It's everybody else, but at no point did you realize that she talked about her own administration there. At no point, again, I've emphasized this many times, Democrats said something they lack is personal responsibility for their own actions here that caused all this. They don't want to increase domestic oil production, which we just had the CEOs come out all over Twitter and say that's one way to reduce inflation because the cost of freight to ship all these products out is through the roof. So they'll bring the price down of everything for the most part. You're still going to have some sort of inflation because these knuckleheads pumped out billions and billions of dollars in COVID relief packages, and I shouldn't even use the word billions, trillions of dollars in COVID relief. You also have more Democrats wanting to send out more money for COVID relief, i.e. Gavin Newsom of California going to send about 20-something million people $1,000 checks, COVID relief checks. He's using different acronyms for this, but that's only going to make things even worse because that's how you inflate the economy, by putting more dollars out there. You have Joe Biden wanting to put debit cards out there for people to have some sort of relief on gas prices. But again, at no point are they going to blame themselves. It's everybody else's fault. Always everybody else's fault. Now we're going to get into the Hunter Biden, Joe Biden business dealings.
And then on a different topic, why is there a voicemail of the president talking to his son about his overseas business dealings if the president has said he's never spoken to his son about his overseas business dealings?
Well, first I'll say that what the president said stands. So if that's what the president said, that is what stands. And
He's
second,
leaving a voicemail
secondly,
about a New York Times article
but secondly,
concerning Hunter
secondly,
Biden's business dealings, and
Peter,
he says, "I think you're clear." How is that not him talking to his son about his overseas business dealings?
we're not, from this podium, I am not going to talk about alleged materials from.
Alleged materials? Everybody said it's come from the laptop. Your own party says it's come from the laptop. Your own outlets that massage your shoulders and freaking cover for you all the time says it came from the laptop. It's not alleged anymore. It just is. And this is what she does. Spin it, not answer questions. Let's continue.
The laptop.
So are you disputing that it's the president's voice on the voicemail?
I am not going to talk about alleged materials on the laptop.
Are
It's
you
not
disputing
happening.
then that it is not?
Peter, I refer you to his son's representative.
Okay.
Okay.
So Peter Doocy's baffled, as are all of we, as to why she continues to not answer any questions, because she gets paid $180,000 to do that type of work. I mean, what a great country to live in that you can sit there and basically dodge people's questions, spin it, manipulate it any way you want, and you still get a six-figure paycheck, upwards of $180,000, which is the max that you can get paid in her position. And it also came out there's like 24 other people in the White House that are making $180,000 max that don't do a damn thing. What company do you know would pay you to run their company into the ground? You got immigration, you got the war in Ukraine, you got Afghanistan, you got the Taliban freaking coming back to life. You also have Iran trying to build a nuclear weapon. You have inflation going through the roof, which is what the government caused. You got gas prices going through the roof. You got a president who doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I mean, the list is freaking endless here, and they're making six figures when things aren't going well. Don't you normally get fired for that type of job? But no, she's going to sit there and chauffeur out, get paid $180,000 to sit there and not answer anybody's questions and say things are alleged when they're not alleged. We all know that Joe Biden was lying. Joe Biden himself, what I think, knows that he's lying, especially at this point. He's caught red-handed. Multiple times he's been caught red-handed. His predecessor, Barack Obama, was caught red-handed by saying that he's going to be certain dealings even though he wasn't president yet, which you can't do. So all these things, but no. You got Donald Trump that has this whole January 6th debacle going on. Furthermore, Donald Trump was investigated over a freaking phone call. And Joe Biden, we actually have recordings. We have a ton of information from the laptop. We have more information outside the laptop. You have Hunter Biden's own business partners coming out and saying that all this stuff happened, but there's nothing happening. And Democrats are going to sit there going, oh, well, you know, the government's all for the corrupt Republicans and conservatives. Get out of here. Freaking throw me. It's so frustrating that you could sit there as a government and consistently attack Republicans and conservatives going back to Obama's time. Remember when the IRS was sitting there and strategically going after Republicans and conservatives' tax returns and auditing them on purpose and targeting them, and it was found that that was happening? And then Brock's like, oh, I don't know what's going on, even though there's emails from Eric Holder, that whole spiel. And like I said, then how many investigations does Donald Trump have? I'm not saying the guy's a freaking gem, but you're going to throw all those investigations at Donald Trump and you're not going to do a single damn thing, not even freaking crack a window, open a file against Joe Biden and see what's going on with his business dealings. The guy has been in freaking government for 40 plus years. You're not telling me there's a damn thing to look at where you got a guy that just entered government for 4 years alone, Donald Trump, and you went on this whole Russiagate thing, this January 6th witch hunt, but yet you have a laptop that has information that shows there was business dealings, but yet you're going to go after Ivanka Trump for her dealings in China because she has some sort of clothing company, and then you're going to go after Donald Trump with his dealings in Russia because he owns a multi-billion-dollar property business, and you're going to get all up in arms over that, but yet you have him on tape saying that, hey, you know what? I don't know anything about those business dealings. And then you got a voicemail saying that he knew things about the business dealings, and you're not even going to bat an eyelash over it and say, well, it's all alleged. We're not going to answer questions. Give me a damn break. I'm so tired of it. The corruption is endless. You need to drain the swamp and stop paying these people $180,000 to not do their job. It is so frustrating. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.